Good morning, everyone. This is Rama On Writing, coming to you live from a beautiful, sunny spring day in Sedona, Arizona. This is our busy time of the season in Sedona, and it appears that this is a busy time of the year for our authors. We are cranking through books like candy, so good job to all of you that are in your timeline or soon will be in your timeline. Today, we're going to talk about what a marketing kit is for an author. This has been a webinar I've had on that schedule for almost 2 months now, and I keep on changing it because we have all these authors with freshly published books, and I've wanted to do interviews. For the next month, we have informative webinars on Saturday morning, and the next few are very important, so if you can catch them, please show up Saturday or catch the broadcast on the Rama On Writing YouTube channel. When we think of a marketing kit for an author, the first thing that comes to mind is bookmarks. Bookmarks are a great way of getting information out to people. They're easy. They're a different shape compared to a business card. We'll get into business cards in a moment, but because of the elongated shape, many times a bookmarker will live a longer life than a business card. You know, if someone gives you a business card, generally a business card is going to end up in the circular file, while a bookmark is going to float around on tables and things a while longer. Now, there are a number of approaches for bookmarks. You can spend big dollars and get, a glossy laminated bookmark. Don't really know what those cost. Or you can do a cheap production where basically you go to a Staples and they print 6 up on a cardstock and they cut them for you. Regardless of how you approach this, bookmarks are an important tool. Now, there's one right there. You see, Darnita's already there. Now, there's one thing missing on Darnita's bookmark that we're going to talk about in a moment, okay? And I think I'm the only one on the planet that has come up with this idea. And sometimes, I wonder, why everyone misses the obvious, because I'm not the brightest guy in the world, gang. It's just that sometimes, we miss the obvious. So on a bookmark, generally, we do some presentation of our book cover, whether we just use the lettering of the title or whether we use some imagery from the book cover. I remember helping Mary create her bookmark, and basically I cut the airplane off of her cover and the parachuter and tried to put them in the starry background, and it worked really well. Bookmarks are really good to give away. So it may be a better approach to spend less, have more to give away. I don't know whether a fancy bookmark is going to have more impact than a less fancy one. This is something that we can experiment with over time, but I suspect that just getting it into people's hands is the important thing. And we can all take a page out of the Deb McTernan book. Deb printed thousands of bookmarks long before her book was finished. She gave them away in such quantity where, she was in line in Target. She would give them away to the people in line, and she would somehow get the cashier to put a stack right up on the cash register. I mean, and Deb is not an aggressive, assertive gal. She's, demure, she's just, what Deb is that we all need to borrow is that she knows she's a writer, and she knows that the more stuff she gives away, the more sales she's going to get. And when I say stuff, I also mean books and ebooks as well. She's given away over 500 copies of her print version book. That does cost her, $3 or $4 a copy to give those away, but she knows this is the way you market. And in her case, she's got 8 or 9 books in the series, so book number 1 is kind of the lag leader. Okay, so what do we put on our bookmark other than some representation of the book? Well, we do want to put our email address on the bookmark so that people can contact us. If we have a website, a web address would be appropriate as well. Now, here's the Rama edition. Let's get the QR code on the bookmark, and let's use the QR code effectively. Okay, so first off, there may be some of you who don't know what a QR code is. Hold on a sec, let me find one on a book real quick or on something. I'm just looking at the boxes in Tom's office here. Hold on. Okay, QR code. This is the back of a book. See a barcode? QR code. It looks like a bunch of squiggly lines. If you haven't noticed, QR codes are on virtually all products nowadays. It is a marketing tool. How can we use this to market better? First off, a QR code is coded to a web page. So you could have it coded to your Facebook page, you could have it coded to your website, or you could have it coded to your email sign-up sheet. Okay, now you heard my pause. You heard me say where it could be. I didn't say you want to have this coded to your email marketing sheet. That's my approach. But that's what I'm really saying, is that it will work better, more effectively for you if it is going to an email sign-up sheet. Now, more important than that, if you have your QR code on a business card or bookmark and you're carrying it with you and you run into someone at the coffee shop and you tell them about your book, you give them a bookmark, and they say very kindly, "Oh, I'll go and sign up for your mailing list." They mean that in the moment, but they're not going to go and sign up for your mailing list. So what you do while you have your captive audience is you take your smartphone, you point it at your QR code, and what comes up? Your email sign-up sheet. You give them your phone, and they put in their email address and their first name, and now they're on your list. Okay? Now, you heard me say this for a reason, right? People tell you anything, whether they say it to get you off of their back, or they say it out of a courtesy, or they say it just to be nice. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is, in the moment is the only time you're going to really be assured to get them on that email list. So we have to take an asserted effort. We have to do it in the moment. Otherwise, all these great people disappear, and we will not be able to market to them. So why would we want to get them on our email list? Well, of course, we want to be able to send them our blog notification, our newsletter once a month, or once a quarter. We want to be able to tell them, hey, my book is out and available. Buy my book. And we also want to be able to market them for the second and the third books. This is part of marketing. This is what we forget because we live in a digital age. So we think that we're going to contact all our people off of Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Pinterest or Tumblr or YouTube, and the list goes on. Goodreads. Don't want to forget Goodreads. Well, we are going to find people that way, but we tend to forget the importance of face-to-face marketing, okay? Once you have your book, once you have your marketing materials, you really can't afford to go anywhere without those components along for the ride. When I did have boxes of books in my car, I sold books every time I went out. Of course, now I don't have books in my car or books in my house or books anywhere except up online. But that's bad marketing on my account. Okay, so face-to-face marketing is what the marketing kit really addresses, or one of the components, okay? So we talked about bookmarks. We can also make the same approach with business cards. Unfortunately, business cards have a tendency to get thrown away. So, if you spend a lot of money to make a fancy business card, you might in fact be, not as frugal with your resources as you could be, because that pretty card's going to get thrown away just as easily as a plain white card with a QR code would. Okay, so not to discourage business cards, because I think that we have them, we should have them, and it's pretty darn cool to rip out a business card that says you're an author. I mean, that's really kind of special amongst some of our other skills. Astral travel for Luna, being a human fairy for Jill, being the lady engineer for Amy D. There are different components that we can also put on our business card. If we've defined our platform, that would be the way to do it. Now, what else can we do? I saw that some of the authors had printed. Oh, let me see. I think someone had a beer cozy. In the past, for my bike shop, I had coffee cups, shot glasses, T-shirts, hats, stickers, magnets. We can do similar things, okay? I would encourage you to look at the less expensive products as opposed to spending lots of money. But if you've got extra resources and you want to have a T-shirt with the cover of your book on it, all the more power to you. It can be an effective tool. There are tons of companies online that print this stuff for rather cheap. I mean, for Tom, we've printed pens, we've printed highlighters, we've printed folders, we've printed cheap carrying bags. We've done a number of things over the years. Whether they've been effective at helping us one way or the other or not, I cannot say. So let's make a hard, fast rule. Don't spend a lot on printed material, okay? Spend as little as you can. Get the biggest bang for your buck is what I'm getting at, gang, okay? Let's utilize the QR code in our marketing because I think that's the biggest bang for our buck. Okay, now what else might you want to do? If you are planning on a book signing event, you probably want to invest in either a banner or some kind of laminated, 12 by 18 cover image. Something like that to put up on your table would be very effective. Some authors have made a magnet to put on their car. That's a great form of advertising. They're not hugely expensive. Anaria made little magnets with crystal skulls on them, and she gave me one of those. So if you want to have an image stick around, make a magnet. People toss them on their refrigerator, and every day they will see that image, and that will go a long way to imprint that image in their minds. Okay, now, marketing kits can also kind of be moved into what might be called a press kit or a media kit. This is usually information, and many authors have a link on their website. It's usually in a drop-down menu, maybe under the Contact Us, and the menu comes down and says Media Kit. And what normally is in the Media Kit is a write-up, an author bio, a short pitch of the book, maybe a long pitch of the book, and contact information. This is probably a good tool to put together, whether you just have it digitally or you actually make copies of it. If you're going to do radio interviews, sometimes they want to see that information. If you're going to try to get your book in a bookstore, to bring a copy of your book along with that press information to the buyer could go a long way. It makes it seem like you are a more sophisticated author than just a bum off the street with a book. Not to say that means your book is any better, but it goes back to the adage that nobody likes to hear, and this is another one of these great Rama-isms, is that if two of us wrote the exact same book, one being good English, one being bad English, would the good English book sell better than the bad English book? We would like to say yes, and it probably would, but it wouldn't necessarily sell a lot more just if marketing was equal. But let's say that the bad English book, the author was a great marketer. Would they be able to sell more versions of the bad book because they're a good marketer than the good written book and a bad marketer? Well, I hate to tell you, gang, the marketer is going to win out, okay? So no matter how good your book is, if you're not going to market it, you're not going to sell it. It's not going to happen on its own unless you are the luckiest person around. And so there is that, half of 1% chance that it'll take off the shelf and sell by itself. More than likely, you're going to need to, bust out your marketing effort. You're going to need to be your biggest supporter in order to be successful. And I know none of you really want to hear this, and I don't even want to hear it myself, okay? So, we're between a rock and a hard place. And I know the first thing on Jill's mind is, well, I'm just going to hire somebody to market my book for me. And, and it sounds like a great idea. The problem is it isn't going to work. more than likely you're going to hire somebody to do some marketing for you, and they're not going to do a good job, and you're going to end up by doing the marketing anyway. Or you're going to still need to provide all the content and the direction for that person to be your feet in the world. So essentially, you could hire a high school kid to do your marketing if you're going to be in charge of directing it anyway. So it's probably not a good expense to hire a high expensive marketer knowing that they're really not going to do the job that they're talking about. Now, you're going to say, well, why? How can you say that, Rama? I talked to this marketer and they sounded like they know what they're doing. And if you take a step back and you think, well, they're a marketer. If they can't make you think they're going to do a good job, then they got to get out of the business, right? You know, we have to be very cautious. And if you've listened to me talk over the years, I've identified a lot of ways that you could spend your money on this program and that program and the next program. And you've also heard me say, hey, look, don't spend the money unless you're going to do what the program recommends and what they are talking about. Most of us, and I'm going to raise my hand here, have bought programs for social media, for this and that. We spent $100, we spent $500, we spent $6,000, and we never fulfilled on our obligation. Don't do it. Don't spend the money if you're not going to use the service. And you heard me say $6,000. You know who I'm referring to? It's the people that should be here on this webinar that aren't. So, you know, it's easy to spend the money once the money's gone, out of sight, out of mind, next. So do yourself a favor. Don't spend the money unless you're going to use the services. Okay, so we've kind of mentioned a little bit about marketing kit. We've also mentioned a little bit about the media kit. I am going to stop my recording right now and move to the Q&A. So give me 1 second and let me change computers.